Welcome to National Floor Chemistry. This is Unit 2 and the first topic is on fuels. So the first question we need to know is, what do we mean by a fuel? What are fuels? Well, a fuel is any compound with energy stored within it. Now, most of the stored energy in fuels started off as light energy captured by plants during photosynthesis. So in fact, most of our fuels started out as energy from the sun. Some examples of fuels are things like wood, petrol, coal, oil. Fossil fuels are a type of fuel, and the three fuels we talk about as fossil fuels are coal, oil, and natural gas. Now, the reason they're called fossil fuels is that they're formed by the decaying bodies and fossils of prehistoric plants and animals. So fossil fuels some of them will have started off as dinosaurs that died millions of years ago. Fossil fuels are a finite resource. Now, what that means is that we've only got a specific amount of it. And if we keep using it, we will eventually run out. And that's an issue because once we run out, there's no more left for us to use. Fossil fuels have a massive amount of stored energy within them, and it's why they've been used as the world's main energy source for decades. Now, what do we do with fossil fuels and fuels in general? Well, we do combustion. And to get energy from a fuel, we react it with oxygen, so we burn it. Now, the chemical word for burning a fuel in oxygen is combustion. And there are two products we get when we burn hydrocarbon fuels like coal, oil, and gas. The two things we get are carbon dioxide and water. So you need to know the two products we get are carbon dioxide and water. Now, when it comes to combustion, we need to start a fire, and there are three things needed for a fire to form. We need the fuel, we need oxygen to react with the fuel, and we need heat to start the reaction. If you have those three things together, a fire will start. And if you want to put out a fire, you need to remove one or more of those things. Usually the easiest one to remove is the oxygen, which is why you would cover a fire with a blanket, a wet blanket, to eliminate any oxygen around it. Other ways of putting out fires, like covering it with cold water, is a way of eliminating the heat. Now, normal combustion gives us carbon dioxide and water. But sometimes there's not a good air supply around a fire, and when that happens, we get carbon monoxide instead. Now, carbon monoxide is poisonous, and it can kill if you're breathing it in for too long. And so we don't want to form carbon monoxide, and there are ways to prevent carbon monoxide forming. And a good one that's happened is on car exhausts. They're fitted with things called catalytic converters. So catalytic means a catalyst is involved, and it's called a converter because it converts any carbon monoxide into carbon dioxide, which is a safer gas. It's definitely not poisonous. Now, fossil fuels have issues. There are real issues with burning fossil fuels. Main one being carbon dioxide. So fossil fuels produce carbon dioxide, and it can cause a lot of bad effects. The main ones being acid rain and climate change or global warming, known as the greenhouse effect. So there is a real need to reduce how much carbon dioxide we produce. Ways in which we can reduce carbon dioxide, well, a good one would be to plant more trees, as trees absorb carbon dioxide. So if we have more trees, then the carbon dioxide that we're putting into the atmosphere will be removed. But the best way would actually be to use or burn less fossil fuels. Look for alternative sources of energy. And the alternative sources of energy we have are known as renewable energy sources or biofuels. Now, renewable energy sources and biofuels are ones that either will not run out or that are sustainable, meaning that we will always produce and be able to reproduce the fuel at the same rate at which we produce it, or at which we use it, sorry. So some examples of renewable energy sources are wind power, wave or tidal power, geothermal energy, which is actually using the heat of the planet underneath the rocks, solar power, and nuclear energy. Now in there we also have biomass and biofuels. Now these are the ones that are not renewable, but they are ones that are much safer and more sustainable than fossil fuels. Biomass and biofuels are whenever we specifically grow plants or get bacteria to produce gases which we can then use as fuels. Because plants grow quite quickly and bacteria grow quite quickly, we're able to renew or replenish the fuel at the same rate at which we use it. Therefore, we do not run out of the fuel and it is sustainable. So that has been a relatively quick video looking at what fuels are, what they produce, some of the issues with them, and some of the solutions to the issues with them. Next video, we'll look at some specific types of fuels called hydrocarbons.